everyone, welcome to my podcast, TJ Wilk, The Naked Truth, how I went from fashion model to booking 20 movies in 1 year. In this episode, I'm going to talk very openly and candidly about embarrassing moments and how to overcome them very quickly. This is something that all of us, I'm sure, have struggled with. The first thing we all got to realize is that nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes, whether they're behind closed doors or worst case scenario in front of people we know or don't know. And it's okay, and even the best case scenario in a situation like that is to be able to laugh at yourself and realize that, okay, that was silly, that was dumb, that was embarrassing, but to laugh at yourself will absolutely help you get out of that feeling of embarrassment. You know, embarrassment comes from ego. It comes from this feeling like we're supposed to be perfect, that we can't make a mistake. But, oh, wait a minute, we made a mistake. Oh, no, I'm so embarrassed. You got to throw that out the window and just realize that none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, and you should laugh at yourself, laugh it off, brush yourself off, get up, whatever happened, get back on your feet, whatever it is, and just move on. And that will also diffuse the situation where people may be laughing at you, which of course is the worst case scenario. That's what makes embarrassing moments traumatizing, is knowing that people saw what you did and they're laughing at you. So when you're able to laugh at yourself, it completely diffuses that. And those that are laughing at you are going to actually have respect for you. You don't care if people are laughing at you anymore because you love and accept who you are so much that that feeling of embarrassment is not, it's really not that bad. In fact, it may not even be there. You're just like, all right, whatever, and you move on. And that's the point where that, at least I'm at in my life, is that level of acceptance of who I am as a person, and understanding and knowing that I'm going to make mistakes throughout my life, sometimes huge ones that are going to be in front of people. And it obviously happens in my profession, as an example, when I'm, working on a movie set or I'm in an acting class. I forget my lines. And it is embarrassing. It's frustrating when that happens, especially when you're working on a film set. You've got all these people that are doing their job. The lighting guy did his job, the camera guy's doing their job, the director's doing their job, the other actors are doing their job, and you forget your lines. Oh, you have to reshoot everything, and it feels like a complete waste of time, and it can be a nerve-wracking experience, and believe me, it is. But the way that I handle it is I just kind of laugh it off, and I'm like, all right, I got this. Don't worry, everybody. Let's do this again. And everybody's good, and we do it. When you're performing live in front of an audience, that's the most traumatic experience an actor can have, is forgetting their lines in front of a live audience doing a play, because there are no redos, there are no retakes. You can't just stop and say, okay, let's do it again. You actually have to just figure it out along the way. And, the technique that I learned from acting class has really helped me do that, which is just put my attention on the other person and just work off their behavior, and eventually things will come around and you're back to it. And a lot of times your audience has no idea what your lines are, what's going to happen. They may not know the play very well. So you can get away with that much easier rather than someone who's very familiar with the play, like obviously your acting teacher would, or perhaps a film or play critic that really knows plays and knows the dialogue. But they're going to pay attention to see how you handle it. And, if you can handle it well and just realize your technique and laugh it off and just focus on the other person, let it go, and just put your attention on the other person, you're going to be golden and everything's going to work out just fine. It's weird when you trust that, how that happens. And it's happened to me, and I've had to trust it because that's what I was taught. And sure enough, everything worked out just fine. And it was really cool. When embarrassing moments happen, I know in the moment you're going to forget because you're so in your head and so emotionally attached and involved into what just happened, because your ego is so in the thing. But we got to remember, we got to drop the ego and just realize it's just a thing that happened, as silly or dumb or, as painful as it may be. You just got to try and laugh it off and realize I'm not perfect. That sucked. But all right, let's get up and then figure out why it happened, and then just don't do it again. Just accept and love who you are and laugh off those moments that you make mistakes in front of people. It's just going to make the whole process that much easier to get through, and it's actually going to help build even more self-love and more self-confidence within yourself by laughing those moments off. And you got to remember too, if people are watching you make this mistake, they're paying attention to how you react. And it could be someone that is important. that is noticing how you're reacting, and they may have something for you because of how you've handled it. It's crazy things happen when you're out in public and you do things, and how you react, people pay attention to it. And there could be someone, like I said, in a position of power that may really respect and like how you handle the situation and say, that guy or that girl, I got to talk to them because I have something for them if they're interested. And they're going to start a dialogue, and the next thing you know, you have an opportunity based off that weird, embarrassing moment. So that is something that I wanted to share with you guys. The other thing I want to share with you guys is my most embarrassing moments throughout my life. I wrote down 6 of them, and I really thought very specifically and deep within myself, like, okay, what are the mistakes I made in my life that really stand out? But these 6 that I wrote down that I'm going to share with you are certainly my most embarrassing, and they date back to my childhood. Those, of course, are moments I think that are the most traumatizing when we're children, teenagers, when we're growing up and learning things and making mistakes in front of people. It's so traumatizing at that time because we're still learning a lot about ourselves. We don't know ourselves yet. We're always competing with other people, the popularity contests that we sort of find ourselves in high schools and junior high schools and around other people. We think that's an important thing in life, in society at that age, is how popular and how cool we are, how good we look, all that stuff, right? Making mistakes in front of people as you get older, it slowly becomes not that big of a deal. But for some of us, it is a big deal. And that's what this podcast is all about, is how to overcome that. And again, it's just going back to accepting who you are as a person, loving who you are, and just being able to laugh at yourself and look at it objectively, not emotionally, but look at it objectively, like, okay, how did this happen? And then how do I avoid this from happening again? It's as simple as that. And then you just go about it, you learn from it, and move on, and that's that, right? All right, time for the fun part. So these are the 6 things that are the most embarrassing things that have ever happened to me. And I put them in a chronological order just because I wanted to. I thought it would be more fun. All right, so first things first. When I was 15 years old, I went to the gym with these 2 girls who invited me to go to the gym. They were on the track team. I was not on the track team. I was actually a springboard diver. But the older girl of the 2, they both were seniors in high school. I was a freshman. And I was dating, I was dating one of the girls' sisters who was a freshman. So we were in the same class. But I go to their house all the time and jump on their trampoline and do fun tricks. And the older sister was a gymnast, not just on the track team, but a gymnast. So we'd always jump on the trampoline together. And then, one time we were talking about getting stronger and building more muscle, and she invited me to the gym with her friend that was on the track team. And these were the 2 strongest girls in the school. One of them was a shot putter, and the other one was they threw the javelin and was a sprinter. So these girls were tough girls. So we go to the gym on a hot summer day, and I've been in a gym before, but not really paid attention to the gym equipment or anything like that. So the first thing we do is we go to the leg press. I'm 15 years old. We go to the leg press, and I'm just this skinny kid with big ears and no muscle at all. I'm very skinny and weak. And the first thing they do is we go to the leg press, and they want to load these 100-pound plates. They weigh 100 pounds. Pick it up off the ground and load it up onto this thing that it goes on, slides on, and then you do your leg presses. So one of the girls goes to one side and picks up one and puts it on there like it's nothing. And I'm like, dang, that was 100 pounds. How did she do that? Because I weigh maybe 120 pounds. It's like she picked me up and just put me on the leg press. How did she do that? Well, I was on the other side. She's like, all right, go ahead and put the other one on. I'm like, oh, okay. So now they didn't have any handles on them like the weights do now. And there was no rubber covering. It was just a solid metal 100-pound circular plate that had these little rivets around the end where you could grip it, with your fingers a little bit. So that's how I picked it up. I picked it up like that, and I'm picking it up, and I'm maybe 6 or 7 inches off the ground, and it slips off my fingers and lands right on my big toe, my left big toe. I yelped and screamed like a girl. I crashed down to the ground, grabbing my foot. Everybody in the gym, and it was a packed gym. People were there working out, big bodybuilder guys with their shirts, I think some of the guys didn't even have their shirt on, but a lot of the guys were wearing tank tops The girls run over like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm screaming and I'm like, ah. And I like look around and everybody has stopped looking at me like, what just happened? What's wrong with that kid? And immediately I felt embarrassed. Once I realized everybody was looking at me and everybody stopped. The guy that worked the front counter turned the music off. They were blasting like some 80s song that I really liked. I remember, I think it was, well, it doesn't matter, but it was an awesome 80s rock song. And they turn it off. And the guy runs over and he goes, what happened? What happened? They were afraid of some kind of lawsuit, I guess. And I'm like, and the ladies were like, he accidentally dropped the weight on his toe. And everybody was like, oh no, when they heard what happened. So that made it that much worse. You know, even though they're all empathetic, you know, the people in the gym were not laughing at me. They actually were scared and felt bad for me, which could be just as bad as someone laughing at you. At least that's how I felt. And I try to like hobble it off and try to toughen it out, which I did. You know, I'm like, all right, I'm fine. They were offering me ice for my toe, and I'm like, no, it's okay. It's fine. I'm all right. I'll be okay. And I'm hobbling, and I don't know if I popped my toenail off, if there's blood everywhere inside my sock and my shoe, if my toe was broken. It certainly felt broken. But I just toughed it out. I did it. I lifted up that weight because I was so angry at myself that this happened. So my adrenaline was up, and I pick up that weight, and it literally felt like it was nothing at that point. I put it on there. I slam it on there, and the girls are like, "Are you sure you want to do this? We can go home." I'm like, "Yeah. Let's get through this workout." So they're like, "Okay." So they do their leg presses. Then it's my turn, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is gonna hurt," because my toe was throbbing. And so I go on the leg press, and sure enough, actually, it didn't hurt because my foot was elevated, so the blood was like left the toe, and I'm pressing with my heels and not my toe. So that actually felt okay, and then I was fine throughout the rest of the workout. When I got home, I took my sock off and my shoe, and I saw that there was no like major damage to my toe. It just was bruised at the top, and my nail was fine. There was no blood, but it was definitely bruised, and I'm like, oh my God. I thought I broke it, and I'm actually pretty sure I have fractured it, because to this day, all these years later, when I lift my toe up straight like I'm doing now, I can still feel it a little bit, which is so crazy. But yeah, that was very embarrassing. Thing number 2. This is even more embarrassing than that. This is probably the most embarrassing thing. And maybe I should stop after the second one. I don't know, but I'll read this. Okay, so maybe about a year later, I'm 16 years old. I'm on the diving team. And this is my very first springboard diving competition in the school. And I've never competed before in my life. I only had like a few practices. Like maybe we had like 2 months worth of practice to learn 6 dives. And the pool is packed. There's a bunch of swimmers. And if you don't know about how diving competitions go, all eyes are on you and everybody's quiet. They're all watching you very quiet. It's like golf. You know, it has to be quiet and everybody's watching what you're doing. And I remember in the bleachers, all the parents and the siblings of the swimmers were there. My parents, of course, were there. All the swimmers were lined up around the pool, just kind of sitting along the pool, watching all of us divers compete. And it was my very first dive, which was just a front dive in the pike position. So my legs are straight. I touch my toes and then go in head first. Well, maybe 10, 15 minutes or so before the competition, they gave us our swimsuits that were like our team swimsuits that had our high school name on it and was like a specific design with colors. Before that, I was just wearing a regular bathing suit that looked like, you know, something you'd wear at the beach. It wasn't a Speedo, but this was a Speedo, and it was too big. All right. The strings, when I would tie it, it wouldn't secure it on my waist. And my diving coach was like, I said to him, like, this doesn't fit me well. And he goes, well, you're going to have to toughen it out. Just tighten it as much as you can, because we don't have any more sizes. This is what it is. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So it's my turn to dive, front dive pike. All eyes are on me. It's quiet. I do my dive and I come out of the water and I see my scores are pretty decent. They're like 6.5, 6s, which is really good out of 10. It was my first dive ever, so I felt good about it. And I'm smiling and I'm swimming to the ladder like, okay, I did good. And it's quiet. People aren't clapping like they've done for all the other divers that went before me. And I'm like wondering what's going on. And my diving coach is like, TJ. And by the way, when he yelled my name, it echoed because there was no noise, just his voice. TJ. He's pointing. He's like, your bathing suit, your bathing suit. And it's floating to the other side of the pool where the other diving board was. There are two diving boards. I used this one, and this one was over here, and it's floating past the diving board over there. And I'm like, oh, no. So I'm panicking. So I swim over to my bathing suit. People are starting to laugh and giggle because I hear them. And I'm putting on my bathing suit, and I realize it's inside out. So I had to take it back off, flip it around, put it on right. Meanwhile, the girl that's waiting on the diving board to do her next dive is looking at me like she wants to kill me. The judges are annoyed, just sitting there like this. You're like, will you hurry up, kid? You know, we got a thing to do. People in the audience are kind of giggling and laughing. I see my parents, and my dad is doing this. He's doing this. Oh, my God. So I put the bathing suit on. I do my best to sort of tighten it, but I didn't pull the strings to tie it because I had to get out of the pool so that the competition could continue. They couldn't continue it until I got out of the pool. So the bathing suit is like hanging almost where you can see, and I lift it up as much as I can as I get out of the pool. And I go over to my diving coach, and he's like, did you not tie it tight enough? I told you to tighten it. I said, I tightened it as hard as I could. He goes, well, you got to tighten it tighter. I'm like, all right. So I did like the best I could, and it did a little bit better. And I had 5 more dives to do, and thank God it did not fall off again. Oh, thank God. That was so embarrassing. And I remember when I got to the ladder and then I got out, my thought was, well, you know, that happened. Whatever. And then I go over to my diving coach, and I just saw how he was just like shaking his head like, I told you to tighten it. And I'm just accepting everything that happened. And those feelings of embarrassment kind of started to go away because I started to focus on my next dive, which was supposed to be a back dive pike, and which I did. But I just put my focus on the next thing, and I knew what happened because I didn't tighten it tight enough. So even though I thought I did, I guess I didn't. So because when I did tighten it the second time, it stayed on. So everything was fine after that, and then they ordered me a smaller suit, which fit me much better, and then that issue was over. I think they ordered me like an extra large, and I was a medium. So yeah, that was so not good. But that was that was interesting. Okay, my third mistake that I made. I actually made a video about this, of what happened. So yeah, that happened, and it legitimately happened in high school. In my freshman year in high school, had a whole bunch of books in my hands. They went flying everywhere. I tripped over my shoelace. That's what happened. And that was kind of embarrassing. But I laughed it off. I got up. I laughed it off, brushed myself off because I couldn't believe it happened. And the students were laughing, but I was never made fun of for it. I was never bullied about it. No one ever brought it up in school the next day or even later on in that day in my classes. It's just like, well, that was it, which was kind of cool. And I think the fact that the way I handled it, of me laughing at myself, defused the situation. I believe that if I would have left angry, I ran away, or God forbid, I would have been crying, I absolutely would have been bullied. I definitely would have been made fun of. I would not have gained the respect of the students. But because I chose to laugh at myself, it was something that wasn't even discussed at all or brought up at all, which was kind of interesting because I was waiting. I was anticipating for someone to say something, but no one did, and that was kind of crazy. And that was like the first time I realized it's okay to laugh at yourself because, it was just a very silly, funny thing that happened. But also I realized maybe because I laughed at myself, that's why the kids didn't make fun of me. Because they saw that I saw that it was funny, and that was it. So that was thing number 3. Thing number 4 was embarrassing. It was actually a little more traumatizing than embarrassing because of what happened. So here's what happened. I was 17 years old. I was learning how to drive. I just got my driver's license. And the day before of this particular incident, I had won this 9-ball tournament against this really popular kid in my high school. He was a senior. He was like the captain of the football team. Everybody loved him. He was a good-looking guy. All the girls were always all over him. And he was a really good pool player. I would see him at the billiards hall that I go to sometimes to shoot pool. And he was there all the time shooting pool with all these guys. I never met him before. I never really talked to him before. But I obviously knew who he was and saw how popular and just how everybody loved the guy. So at the end of the tournament, it was between me and him. And I beat him. I beat this guy. And he was shocked because he usually won this thing, and you usually win like $300 to $500. I think I won like 300 or something that day, and it was a Saturday afternoon, and I was so happy that I won the cash, 300 cash, and I never won anything like that in my life. I've never even competed in a billiard tournament before, but I was dared to, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I ended up winning the thing against this super popular kid. So he shook my hand, and he's like, hey, what's your name? I said, I'm TJ. He goes, is your sister Kim? He knew my sister because my sister was really popular. Everybody loved her. And, she's really pretty. We were in the same grade, but she was very pretty and outgoing, and I was just very kind of shy, goofy kid with big ears, very skinny, didn't really talk much. But people liked me, I guess, but I just wasn't very outgoing. But he knew my sister, so he was very nice to me and congratulated me, and that was that, and I felt good about that. Like, all right, cool. I know I just met the most popular kid in school, and he likes me, and that's pretty cool. All right, next day, we're coming home from church. We have to stop at the gas station. My parents are letting me drive. My dad's in the passenger seat, my mom's in the back, and my younger sister is behind me. And I'm pulling into the gas station, and I'm looking to where I'm supposed to go, which is, one of those gas tank things. And there's this large cable that's attached to this telephone pole that is then attached to the ground. And it's this long cable. I didn't see it. I'm just looking where I'm supposed to go, not where I was going. I ran over this cable. The top of the cable breaks, it snaps and smashes into my windshield, and glass just flies everywhere, all over my face, all over my dad's face, my mom, my sister. I mean, glass was everywhere, and they're all yelling and screaming because out of fear, like, what just happened? I slam on the brakes. Everybody flies forward. The glass flies out of the car because whatever was on the dash, it goes out the car. It was my parents' van. It was a 1992 Ford Aerostar van. And so I run into that thing and I slam on the brakes. And by the way, it was raining a little bit. It was like a drizzle of rain coming down. So we're getting wet inside the car. This guy runs out of the gas station, all freaked out, like looking. And it's the guy that I beat at the billiard tournament, the popular kid. He worked at this gas station. So he comes over, he sees that it's me, and he lights up and he starts laughing. And he goes, and then I felt embarrassed. Right then and there, I felt embarrassed. First, it was traumatizing, like, oh, wow. And then I felt embarrassment because this super popular kid that everybody loves, and I know I'm going to see him the next day, Monday, because this was Sunday now, he's going to totally tell everybody, and I'm going to be so screwed at school because everyone's going to make fun of me. Well, he's laughing, and then he stops, and he goes, are you okay? He's like, I can't believe it's you. Dude, are you all right? Is everybody okay? And then he was like so cool. And he goes, look, you're not the first person that's ever ran over this cable. This actually happens a lot. Whoever put this cable here is an idiot. It shouldn't even be in the road on the way to the gas station. I'm like, that was what I was thinking. And my dad's like, well, you should watch where you're going. You shouldn't be watching where you were going. You need to watch where you are going. Like what's in front of you. And I'm like, all right. So that was the lesson learned. I never did that again. But I certainly felt traumatized and embarrassed from that moment. And that really sucked. But the irony of that I beat that guy in that pool tournament, and the next day he's the guy that's there. That was a crazy moment. Okay, another embarrassing moment that happened. Embarrassing moment number 5. I'm playing the drums at church, speaking of church, in front of a large audience, a large congregation. And I usually play with like the church band where we have a piano player, we have the massive choir, and we have like sometimes a guitar player or a bass player. And then we have like a lead singer person who's leading the choir in the congregation with whatever song we're doing. And I'm behind the drums playing the drums. Well, during the offering part of the sermon or the service, they hand out these offering plates where you put money in them, to donate to the church or whatever. And during that moment, it was just me on the drums playing to a song that I had on a CD, a really cool jazz song that I like to play that was like a Christian jazz song. And I'm playing to the song, I'm having fun, and all of a sudden the drumstick flies out of my hand. I drop the drumstick and it lands on top of the bass drum, rattles around, hits another drum on the side. And these drums are made out of like wood and plastic. So it's making a bunch of noise that has nothing to do with the song. And it falls in front of my drum set and rolls on the ground next to like the front seats of where the people were sitting. And I had to literally get up because I didn't have any extra drumsticks. I only had these 2 drumsticks. I get up in the middle of the song while the song's still playing. I run around, grab the drumstick, and then run back to the kit and continue playing. I was so embarrassed. All of my friends that sat at church, all in the same area, were all laughing. Everybody else was just kind of like this. My dad, again, was like this. That's the second time I've seen him do that. Yeah, that was really embarrassing. But a lesson learned. You keep going. I continued playing the song, and when I was done, everybody clapped, and I felt really good about it. A few of my friends laughed afterwards, but we had a good laugh about it. But yeah, that was very, very embarrassing. I sort of shared the 6th thing, which was really about forgetting my lines in an acting class. That happens sometimes, but we have a technique for that, which I rely on, so that's not that embarrassing anymore. But it is a scary moment when it happens, because you have so much preparation, and then just for whatever reason you just forget what the lines are, and you know them like you know your name, but you just forget them sometimes in front of a live audience, and you just have to figure it out. You can't just stop and say, wait, let me redo that. You can't do that. You have to keep going and figure it out. So the technique is you just work off the other person, and eventually things come around and you're back on track and it's all good. But you got to trust that. You have to trust that. You have to get out of your head, drop the ego, and just put your energy and focus on the other actor and just work off their behavior. It doesn't have to be in the script. They will work with you and you'll figure it out. It finds its way. It's so weird how that happens. And it's scary, but it's also kind of exciting once it comes back around. It's like riding a roller coaster. This weird, crazy, intense feeling of fear and just fear and excitement. But man, it's kind of crazy how things can turn around when you rely on a technique, and that's what embarrassing moments, how you overcome them, is a technique that you teach yourself, that you try to remember when something like that happens, where you just have to laugh at yourself and just accept who you are. It goes back to what I said in the beginning of the podcast, just accepting who you are and knowing that, okay, a mistake is made, and just laugh it off and just figure out logically, okay, how did this happen? And just try to make sure it doesn't happen again. And just, enjoy the experience. You're gonna feel so much better, so much faster when you do that, rather than this feeling of, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe everybody saw me do that. Oh my God. You want to try to avoid that at all costs. And the only way to do it, really, I feel, is just accept the situation, laugh it off, and move on. All right, with all that said, I am going to end this podcast with something really fun, which is a montage of some of my all-time favorite silly moments that were captured on video that I put together for my family and friends. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I hope I inspired you and maybe helped you learn how to get through an embarrassing moment using a technique. So with that said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
And I realized.
Damn it! It didn't work.
She still jumped.
Yeah, but she usually goes, ah! That didn't happen.
TJ, what am I going to do with you? TJ?
I don't know.
It's not the right answer.
Here he goes. face.
So earlier today, I had an appointment with my psychiatrist, and I was sitting in his office waiting to see him for 50 minutes. He finally shows up and says to me, TJ, I'm so sorry. Things around here have been insane.
Oh man, you getting seriously, bro? I'm sorry. Get your ass out of here, man. Sorry. I'm tired of you, bro. Get out of here, man. I'm out. I was messing with my set, man.
You're retarded. Oh, God. Oh, oh.
Football, soccer ball, baseball, tennis ball, basketball, volleyball, Bosu ball.
With just 1 second left on the clock, Wilt drops back to pass at 4th and 1, has a wide open receiver, sees him there at midfield. That is Nicholas Wilson catching the pass, spinning to the 3-yard line in. Oh, he's tripped up at the 1-yard line by Jason Legs.
Merry Christmas, us.
Bitch, I look like I'm fresh off the runway. Bitch, I go crazy the dumb way.
How's your breakfast, sweetie?
So good.
Nice. With the view, with the beautiful woman next to you. Here I am. What? Sweetie? That's not attractive. This is not attractive at all.
This is a very serious part of the job. Ow. Ow. Oh. I'm kidding. Ow. Oh, sorry. I'm kidding.